Tunde had spent years digging for gold, yet his hands remained empty. He had seen others strike it rich, men no smarter or stronger than him, but no matter how hard he tried, success always slipped through his fingers. Now, sitting under an old oak tree, he wondered if fate had played a cruel trick on him. He had once found a promising vein of gold, just a few feet away from striking it rich. But before he could reach it, the government halted all mining activities in the area. Now, he watched as his old friends, men who had started mining with him, built houses, rode fine horses, and lived without worry. Meanwhile, he remained in the same tattered clothes, eating the same simple meals. "What have I done wrong?" he muttered to himself. "Am I cursed? Have the gods abandoned me?" As he brooded, an old man approached, leaning on a walking stick. His beard was long and grey, his eyes sharp and knowing. He paused beside Tunde and asked, "My son, why do you look troubled? The sun still shines, and the earth is still beneath your feet." Tunde sighed heavily. "Baba, I have worked hard for years, but no matter what I do, success escapes me. I have watched my friends prosper while I remain here with nothing. Tell me, is it my fate to struggle forever?" The old man chuckled. "Let me tell you a story," he said, settling down beside Tunde. "There was once a powerful king who had a loyal servant. This servant had a strange habit. Whenever something happened, whether good or bad, he would always say, 'Everything happens for a reason.' One day, while the king was sharpening his sword, he accidentally sliced off one of his toes. Blood spilled onto the floor, and the king roared in pain. His servants rushed to his side, but the loyal servant simply nodded and said, 'Everything happens for a reason.' The king was furious. 'How dare you say that when I have lost my toe?' he bellowed. In his anger, he ordered the servant to be thrown into the palace dungeon. Days later, the king, still fuming, decided to go hunting alone. He rode deep into the forest, unaware that he was in dangerous territory. A fierce neighboring tribe captured him. The king was dragged to their village, where the people danced wildly, preparing for a grand sacrifice to their gods. As they tied him to the altar, the tribe's high priest approached, examining him closely. Suddenly, the priest stopped. "Wait," he declared. "This man is not whole. He is missing a toe. We cannot offer him as a sacrifice. Our gods demand perfect offerings." The tribesmen untied the king and set him free. Shaken but grateful, the king returned to his palace. He immediately ordered his servant to be released. "I see now that you were right," the king admitted. "Losing my toe saved my life. But tell me, you were unjustly locked up in the dungeon. What was the reason for that?" The servant smiled. "My king, if I had not been locked up, I would have followed you on your hunting trip. And since I am whole, the tribe would have taken me for the sacrifice instead." The king laughed heartily, shaking his head. "Truly, everything happens for a reason." The old man finished his story and looked at Tunde. "Now tell me, my son, what do you think?" Tunde sat in silence for a moment, then sighed. "So, you are saying that maybe my failures are not failures at all? Maybe they are protecting me from something worse?" The old man nodded. "The river flows where it must. Sometimes when a door closes, it is because the gods know that what lies beyond is not meant for you. Do not despair. Your time will come." Tunde stared into the distance, letting the words settle in his heart. Perhaps he had been too quick to see failure where there was only redirection. He stood up, dusted his hands, and smiled. "Thank you, Baba. I will not lose hope." Sometimes, what seems like a setback is actually a blessing in disguise. Trust that everything happens for a reason, even if you cannot see it at the moment.